Good day, class. Today we'll talk about doing philosophy. Now, philosophy might sound complicated, but in simple words, it's about asking questions and thinking deeply about life. Philosophy isn't only for great thinkers in books, it's something we do every time we ask, why is this happening? What should I do? What is right or wrong? Before we delve into our topic, let's talk about the objectives for this lesson. So, at the end of the lesson, you can differentiate a holistic perspective and a partial point of view by analyzing real life scenarios. You can also identify and explain human actions that result from deliberate reflection, distinguishing them from impulsive behaviors. And you can also articulate the value of philosophy in developing a broader and more meaningful perspective on life through a written reflection. So, before we talk about what is philosophy, I want you to bring out a piece of paper, any piece of paper, for a very short pre-test. This is simply to check your prior knowledge about philosophy. Are you ready? Okay, number 1. Which of the following best describes a partial point of view? A. Looking at all aspects of a situation. B. Focusing on a specific limited aspect of a situation. C. Taking time to reflect before making a judgment. D. Willingness to consider others' perspective. I repeat. Number 1. Which of the following best describes a partial point of view? A. Looking at all aspects of a situation. B. Focusing on a specific limited aspect of a situation. C. Taking time to reflect before making a judgment. Or D. Willingness to consider others' perspective. Number 2. Doing philosophy is primarily about memorizing the names of famous philosophers. Is it true or false? I repeat, number 2. Doing philosophy is primarily about memorizing the names of famous philosophers. True or false? Number 3. Deliberate reflection means acting on your first impulse. True or false? Number 3. Deliberate reflection means acting on your first impulse. True or false? Number 4. A holistic perspective encourages seeing the bigger picture. True or false? I repeat, number 4. A holistic perspective encourages seeing the bigger picture. True or false? And last number 5. What is the famous Socratic quote that underscores the importance of reflection? A. I think, therefore I am. B. The unexamined life is not worth living. C. To be is to be perceived. D. Man is the measure of all things. I repeat, number 5. What is the famous Socratic quote that underscores the importance of reflection? A. I think, therefore I am. B. The unexamined life is not worth living. C. To be is to be perceived. Or D. Man is the measure of all things. Now, I want you to keep that paper. We will be checking them later on. So, what is philosophy? Before we talk about its etymology, I would like to ask you a few questions. Have you ever asked yourself, what's my purpose in life? Or, why should I study? If you have asked those questions, then congratulations. You've already been doing philosophy. So philosophy, the word philosophy comes from two Greek words, philos and sophia. Philos, which means love, and sophia, which means wisdom. So, philosophy literally means love of wisdom. Pythagoras, a Greek thinker, said that there are three types of people at the Olympic Games. Those who go for money, which are also called lovers of gain, and those who go for medals, which are also called lovers of honor, and those who go to learn and understand, those who are also known as lovers of wisdom. He said that the best kind are the lovers of wisdom. They are the philosophers. So, example, in school, some students focus only on grades, which is honor. Others on allowance or business. These are now the lovers of gain. While others really enjoy learning itself, which is now the lovers of wisdom. So that last group is closest to being philosophers. Okay. So we have here philosophy versus the other fields. Okay? Philosophy is different from other ways of knowing. So science uses experiments and instruments, scientific instruments, to arrive at a certain truth or the scientific truth. When we say theology, it uses faith and the scripture or the word of God to arrive at a theological truth. Common sense uses everyday judgment. Okay? So you will be arriving at a common or ordinary truth. And here comes philosophy. Philosophy now here uses reason and reflection. So you will be arriving at a philosophical truth. So philosophy's special tool is pure thinking. So example, if I ask, what is love? A scientist might check hormones in the brain. A priest might quote the Bible. A philosopher would reflect, is love just a feeling, a choice, or something deeper? Now, how would you define love or truth? Philosophy isn't only about books, it's about our daily life. Everyone has a philosophy, even if they don't realize it. Your values, beliefs, and decisions are shaped by your personal philosophy. So, example, if your motto is family first, that's already a philosophy guiding your actions. If someone believes life is short, enjoy it, or what we say, YOLO, you only live once, that's another philosophy. What's one motto or belief you follow in life? Now, whatever that is, that's part of your personal philosophy. Philosophy has 5 major branches. We have ethics, aesthetics, epistemology, logic, and metaphysics. Let's take a look at them one by one. Ethics come from the Greek word ethos, which means moral philosophy. It is concerned about human conduct. In short, the question that we are going to answer here is, what is right or wrong? Ethics is not an ultimate truth. It's not universal. Okay? it's also subjective because there are certain places where a moral action can be different depending on the locality or the place. Okay, that's why it's not universal. With the ethics, it helps people prioritize their values. So, example, is lying always wrong even if it saves lives? Okay, that's one of the questions that can be answered by ethics. Next, we have here aesthetics. It comes from the Greek word aestheticus, which means sensitive or perceptive. It's the branch of philosophy where the philosopher is concerned with the analysis of aesthetic experience and the idea of what is beautiful. So in here, we are going to answer the question, what is beauty? Here, similar with ethics, it's also not universal. It's very subjective. An example here is, why do some love abstract art while the others hate it? See, even in beauty pageants, some people would contest as to who the winner is, and they would say that that person is not deserving because the other candidate is more beautiful, more handsome. So that's where aesthetics come in. We also have here epistemology. Epistemology comes from the Greek word episteme, which means knowledge. This is the branch of philosophy that deals with various problems concerning knowledge. So the question here is, what is knowledge? Okay? So there are various origin of knowledge. It can be given by the mind, given by experience. There. So an example here is, how do you know your best friend is loyal? You can derive the meaning of loyal just by your rational thinking, or you can also define loyal depending on your experience. There. Next branch, we also have here logic. Logic is the branch of philosophy that looks into whether there are rules or principles that govern reasoning. Okay, so the question here is, what is correct reasoning? So example, if all humans are mortal and Maria is human, then Maria is mortal. So we have those fallacies as well, wherein some words are used, same words but different meaning, so it can create now into a fallacy. Okay, meaning the reasoning is not valid. Next, we also have here metaphysics, which literally means after physics. Okay, so early Greek philosophers claimed that it is the study of the nature of reality. It's the branch of philosophy that analyzes whether everything is material or if life, energy, and mind are its different manifestations. So in short, when we are talking about metaphysics, we are going to ask the question, what is reality? Okay, so example, am I just a body or do I have a soul? So those kinds of questions also are under metaphysics. Next, we have here the brief history of philosophy. So let's look at the story of philosophy through time. Philosophy grew through different periods and each had unique ideas. Okay, so we have here 6 parts of the history of philosophy. Or we have here 6 periods, rather. Okay, philosophy grew through different periods, and each period had unique ideas. So here, let's proceed with the pre-philosophical period. During the pre-philosophical period, people explained the world using myths and legends. Everything that is happening around them is caused by a supernatural being. Okay, so example, the Greeks believed lightning was Zeus throwing thunderbolts, something like that. Or, for example, some merchants before need to offer something to Poseidon so that they could have a safe trip by the sea. Okay, so that's during the pre-philosophical period. All of their reasoning should only be explained through a supernatural being. Next, we also have here pre-Socratic period. So during the pre-Socratic period, thinkers looked for natural causes and not for myths. So we have here Thales of Miletus. He said everything came from water, and water is the ultimate substance because he believed that the earth floats on water. Also, he believes that it's only water that comes in to various phases, just like what we believe now in science, right? Water can be in 3 different forms. Can be a solid form in the form of ice, liquid form, which is water, and the gas form, which is the vapor. Okay, so that's what he believed. By the way, Thales is also known as the first Greek philosopher and the father of philosophy. He is regarded as the first to engage in the inquiry of searching for causes and principles of the natural world and various phenomena without relying on supernatural beings. Next, we have here Anaximander. He believed that the universe came from the boundless. Okay, that's the main term from Anaximander. He claimed that the universe was formed from the boundless, which is both the first principle and the substance of the universe. Another philosopher during the pre-Socratic period is Anaximenes. So, Anaximenes here argued that air was the fundamental element. Okay, so through the process of rarefaction or compression, the air surrounds Earth in a more or less compressed state. So again, we have Thales, who believes water is the ultimate substance. We also have Anaximander, who believes with the power of being boundless. And we also have Anaximenes, who argued that air is the fundamental or absolute substance. We also have here Heraclitus of Ephesus. So he said that we cannot change or we cannot step in the same river twice. He claimed the unity of opposites in characterizing the cosmos. He said that change is constant. We also have here Xenophanes of Colophon. He claimed that there is a single God and he doesn't subscribe to the idea of an anthropomorphic God. When we are referring to anthropomorphic God, meaning gods take up human-like what do you call this? human-like figures. So according to Xenophanes, if gods are human-like, then they can also take the form of animals such as oxen, horses, and lions. So he doesn't subscribe to that kind of idea. We also have here Pythagoras and the Pythagoreans. Yes, he is very familiar in your math subject because of the Pythagorean theorem. Now, this group believes that the cosmos is structured system ordered by numbers. He believed numbers explain the universe. Okay? So imagine explaining earthquakes. Before, people said it was gods fighting. Pre-Socratic says no. It's natural forces like movement of the earth. So you can see already the shift in how people think. Next period, we have here the Socratic period. We have here three famous philosophers. We have Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Now, during this period, they had answer to the problem of how to save the intellectual and moral life of the nation. Socrates, known for his Elenchus, which is the unexamined life, is not worth living. He actually taught the Socratic method. Socratic method refers to asking questions to make people think. Okay? Again, he is famous for his saying, the unexamined life is not worth living. We also have here Plato, a student of Socrates. He believed in eternal ideas or forms. He wrote the Republic, which is, it's a book coming from him. That's what he wrote. Okay, the Dialogues and the Republic. In this book, he said that rulers should be philosopher kings. Okay, he is what do you call this? He supports the idea of Socrates. Okay, he is very much influenced by the teachings of his teacher, which is now different in the case of Aristotle. For Aristotle, he is focused on observation and logic. He said people philosophize because they wonder about the world. If for Socrates and Plato, they believe in mind over matter, meaning our mind is more powerful than the physical one. It's opposite with Aristotle. For Aristotle, it's matter over mind. Physical things, whatever is being experienced, is more important because it's where we learn. That is according to Aristotle. Okay? So if you ask yourself what makes a person good and keep questioning your answer, that's doing philosophy like what Socrates is doing. Next, we also have here the medieval period. Medieval period is where philosophy mixed with religion, or it's the confluence now of faith and reason. Now, when you mix faith and reason, you call that school of thought as scholasticism. During the medieval period, they have attempted to reconcile Greek philosophy and Christian theology. In short, they want to mix it. Okay? They want to explain things the Greek way and at the same time the Christian way. So we have here three famous individuals during the medieval period. Okay, so Saint Anselm, yes, is known for his ontological argument for the existence of God in Proslogion. Okay, and for Saint Augustine, he combined Christian faith with Plato's idea, which is why he promoted the argument by analogy. Whereas for St. Thomas Aquinas, he used Aristotle's logic to prove God's existence, which is very evident in his work Summa Theologica. Okay, so if someone asks, does God exist? Medieval philosophers will use logic and faith together to answer that question. Next, we also have here modern period. Okay? The modern period is more focused on knowledge and reason. Okay? They are concerned about the problems or issues on knowledge, such as rationalism and empiricism. So as for rationalists, okay, as for the rationalists such as René Descartes, Baruch Spinoza, and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, they believe or they said that knowledge comes from reason, which is why, according to Descartes, I think, therefore I am. Okay? There. Next, we also have here, still under modern period, empiricism. So, empiricists like John Locke and David Hume, they said the knowledge comes from experience in the senses. Okay? So we just don't think of things or ideas. Our ideas come from our senses and from our experiences. Next, we also have here synthetic a priori knowledge. According to Immanuel Kant, okay, there is now a combination of both, which is the rationalism and empiricism. Okay, saying that knowledge comes from both reason and experience. So when you say, I know fire is hot because I touch it, that is experience. That's empiricism. When you say 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 is true even without touching anything, that's rationalism. Next, we also have here contemporary period. There are two traditions that are very relevant during this period. By the way, contemporary period is in the 20th century. Okay. So, analytic philosophy or analytic tradition is more focused on language and logic. Okay? That's the major concern of the analytic tradition. Again, it's focused on language and logic. Whereas, continental tradition or continental philosophy, it's focused more on human existence, freedom, and culture. Okay? I hope that is clear. So, analytic philosophers can ask, what exactly do we mean by the word truth? Whereas continental philosophers would ask, how do we live meaningfully in an uncertain world? So, which period do you think? Which period of philosophy do you find most interesting? Is it the ancient, medieval, modern, or contemporary? Why do you think so? We'll see. Okay? Now we also have the different perspectives or point of view. So we have here holistic and partial. Okay. So a partial a partial point of view sees only one side. A holistic view sees the bigger picture. Philosophy teaches us to connect different views to get a fuller understanding. So, example, a student may be noisy in class. So, partial point of view, he is a troublemaker. But if you see that he's also helpful and kind outside class, you get a holistic view of who he is. Okay, so we have here now, we have here the problems in philosophy. So philosophy raises deep questions, such as in metaphysics. How do we know if we are real? How do we know what's real? In epistemology, can I be certain of what I know? Is our knowledge, what do you call this, sufficient? Reliable? What makes something right or wrong? That can be a question or a problem in ethics. How can we be so sure that our actions are right or wrong? There. So those are some problems in philosophy. So the value of philosophy isn't always in the answers, but in the questions. As Bertrand Russell said, philosophy opens our imagination and frees us from narrow thinking. So, example, it's like looking at life through a window. Without philosophy, your window is small. With philosophy, the window is wide. You see more possibilities. So, to sum up our lesson, philosophy is the love of wisdom. It's about asking questions and reflecting on life. It has many branches and a rich history. It helps us move from partial views to holistic perspectives, and it gives value by opening our minds to bigger possibilities. So as Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. Philosophy invites us to live an examined, meaningful life. So, to check on the activity that we had earlier, I want you to get that paper once again. So, the answer in number 1 is B. Partial point of view is focusing on a specific, limited aspect of a situation. Number 2, doing philosophy is primarily about memorizing the names of famous philosophers. It's false. Number 3, deliberate reflection means acting on your first impulse. That's also false. Number 4, a holistic perspective encourages seeing the bigger picture. That's correct. That's true. And number 5, the famous Socratic quote is letter B. The unexamined life is not worth living.